It simply wouldn't be possible to write the story of the 2010-era Boston Bruins without mentioning Tuukka Rask. Since first breaking into the NHL in 2009, Rask quickly became synonymous with Bruins hockey for all the right and wrong reasons. By pure numbers and stats, he was consistently one of the best goalies in a generation that included legendary names like King Henrik and Carey Price, but on the other side of that coin, he never could get Tim Thomas off his back, and no amount of incredible goaltending performances would change that. Not when Rask had to shoulder the blame for Boston's 2 Cup Finals losses. With Rask's career having come to an end, his Hall of Fame candidacy will undoubtedly spark another battle between hockey's traditional and new age schools of thought, especially when it comes to the rigorous standards the Hockey Hall of Fame seemingly holds goaltenders to. But would it really be fair for the Hall to completely disregard everything that made Tuukka great just because he and his team couldn't finish the job? Would it not be a massive disservice to the game of hockey to exclude one of the best goalies of his time by the tools we have to measure goalies? Save percentage, one of the simplest counting stats and a generally decent indicator of goalie quality where a higher number is better. From 2009 through 2021, Tuukka Rask's .921 save percentage ranks tied for first among all goalies who played at least 240 games during that 12-year stretch. The man was consistent at a position that can be notoriously inconsistent. Rask's worst season by save percentage was his 2019 campaign when he put up a .912 on the year. The league average that season, .905. There aren't many goalies who can say their worst season in the NHL was a year in which they were still very much above average, but Tuukka's one of the few who can. Even Carey Price's worst season by save percentage during that same time span was a year in which he posted a flat .900. In fact, Price had 4 seasons where he finished with a save percentage lower than .912 compared to Rask's 0. Rask may not have touched the same level of single-season greatness that was Price's heart-winning 2015 campaign, but he also never had years as rough as 2018 was to Carey. That level of consistency was incredibly valuable to the Bruins. You need your goalie to help put you in a position to win games, and Tuukka did just that. Quality starts are the number of games where a goalie had a better save percentage than the league average that season, and quality starts percentage turns those numbers into a percentage. Since quality starts percentage started being tracked in 2007, the league average has hovered around 53%. So an average goalie can be expected to give their team a quality start a little over half the time. During those 12 years, over 60% of Rask's starts were quality starts, a mark that was better than Carey Price's 57% and Henrik Lundqvist's 59% over the same time frame. He was as dependable as they come. If Tuukka Rask was penciled in as the starter, it was probably going to be a tough night for opponents to score goals. Going a step further and using the slightly more advanced goals saved above expected, we can account for shot quality that raw save percentage can't. Goals saved above expected uses expected goals models that assign values to shots throughout a game and then subtracts the total number of expected goals from the actual number of goals allowed. In the case of Tuukka Rask, he never had a season where he finished with a negative goal saved above expected, and he had 4 seasons where he finished top 10 in the league in the stats. For context, Price had 5 such seasons and Lundqvist also had 4 in the same time span. He was right up there with the big guys, and all those positive seasons began to slowly accumulate. By the end of 2021, Rask had saved 112.4 goals above expected over the years. That was the most by any goalie who played at least 240 games during those 12 years, and he was one of only 2 goalies to finish with over 100 plus goals saved above expected. Tuukka wasn't just some goalie feeding off of 1,000 low danger shots that inflated his save percentage and masked a deeper underlying problem. He was making key saves more than any other goalie in the league, more than Carey Price and more than Henrik Lundqvist. Regular season Rask was simply a force to be reckoned with. And did I mention he was also pretty good in the playoffs? Tuukka Rask never won the Stanley Cup as a starter, but not for a lack of effort. Among all goalies who played at least 50 playoff games between 2009 and 2021, he ranks 3rd in save percentage, only behind Henrik Lundqvist and Braden Holtby, and ahead of guys like Vasilevsky and Price. Consistency wasn't just a regular season thing for Rask, it was a quality he brought with him to the postseason. To disregard the works of art that some of Tuukka's playoff runs were simply because he didn't win the cup would be a failure to see greatness. 2013 was arguably Rask's finest work. He put up a .940 save percentage, had a goals against average below 2, and saved 16.1 goals above expected in those playoffs, a trio of stats I will henceforth be calling the goalie triple slash. Only 3 goalies in the Money Puck era have ever had a playoff run of 15 or more games while sporting a 940 plus save percentage, a sub 2 goals against average, and 10 plus goals saved above expected. Rask in 2013 and Mike Smith and Jonathan Quick in 2012. Playoff runs like that don't come around often, but when they do happen, they should be appreciated. Had the Bruins won in 2013, Rask's postseason could have gone down as one of the greatest playoff runs of the entire decade by a goalie. 2019 would be Rask's second chance at redemption, and he would put in another great postseason, finishing with a 934 save percentage, a 202 goals against average, and 13.4 goals saved above expected. But just like 2013, Rask's Bruins would be on the wrong side of the handshake line. The question then becomes, did Tuukka do enough for the Bruins to win the Cup in those years? And the answer would be yes. The average Stanley Cup winning goalie of the past 10 years had a triple slash consisting of a 923 save percentage, a 215 goals against average, and 8 goals saved above expected. Rask's 2013 and 2019 campaigns were well above the benchmarks set by past winners. In fact, of the last 10 years worth of Cup-losing goalies, Rask has sole possession of the top 2 postseasons by save percentage and 2 of the top 3 postseasons by goals saved above expected. Rask did his part, but fell victim to the fact that hockey at its core is a team game. 5 of the 8 games the Bruins lost to St. Louis and Chicago were decided by 1 goal, proving especially devastating in critical games like Games 4 and 6 against the Blackhawks and Game 5 against the Blues. A couple of different bounces and Tuukka has his ring, maybe 2 as a starter, but that's the goaltender's dilemma. Unless you put up a shutout, you're at the mercy of your team's goal support. Rask shouldn't be penalized for factors that weren't in his control. To run into Tuukka Rask in the playoffs meant running into one of the best playoff goalies of the era. That quality is plenty Hall of Fame worthy, even if he didn't win a cup. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that the 18-member selection committee aren't exactly the biggest analytics nerds out there. So even if you don't care about the fancy stats, there's still things to like about Tuukka. His career 921 save percentage is 3rd all-time in NHL history among goalies who played 200 or more games. He finished top 5 in Vezina voting 3 times in his career and brought home the trophy in 2014. You want Jennings trophies? He's got one, winning the award in 2020. If you care about wins, he won over 300 regular season games and 57 playoff games in his career, both the most by a goalie in Boston Bruins franchise history, and I know just how much y'all love Original Six teams. Internationally, he has an Olympic bronze medal that he won with Team Finland in 2014, and a World Juniors bronze medal from 2006. But more importantly, he has a wasp named after him. How many goalies do you know have a wasp named after them? Marty Brodeur and Patrick Waugh don't have wasps named after them. Look, he has all the stats and accolades minus the cup as a starter. Just let him in. He was one of the best of his era to play the position, and the Hall should recognize that. He's a Hall of Famer, at least in my books, and he should be in yours too. The Hall needs more goalies in it anyways.